Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Four Horsemen Studios, the Legion's Armory Experience, Green Heroic Armory Knight. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here we have your normal stuff, mythiclegions.com, sourcehorseman.com, storehorseman.com, some artwork on the card in the back, the Mythic Legions Four Horsemen logo, nice big blister showcasing the majority of the figure and some of the accessories. Really, you can see the bag, that's really all you can see. Mythic Legions, but it's done in a nice chrome type finish this time because it was part of Legion's Con Armory Experience, which these were the stuff that was available on the website, and this was one of the blind boxes, so to speak, where they send you 3 random knights. So this is the first of those that we'll be talking about. So on this side we've got this. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. And on this side we have this, and I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but it's they both looked like some type of compass, but other than that I can't really tell you. So on the back here we've got some nice mountains in the artwork. I was going to say there's a moon there, but it's not. That's the hole for a peg hook. And then Four Horsemen Studios is done in that chromey, or Four Horsemen is done in that chromey finish, and then their logo here is also done in that chromey finish, and this is not something that they do a lot. And here is kind of a rundown of what's going on. So if you want to read all that, please feel free to pause it and do so. And then we've got, all the names of people who worked on it. Well, maybe not all, but and then see the entire collection, mythiclegions.com. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging.
Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And because I got this as part of the basically the 3 random blind box picks of this, it did come with the Barbarian bare body parts, and I'll include that with this. I won't go over it with the other 2 as I get those reviews completed. I'll just go over the Barbarian parts once, and it will be with this review. As you can see, they're sitting out here already, and I have assembled them as much as possible. So here is the first one, and the skin tone matches Galric. So I guess it can be used with that, or maybe other orcs match that skin tone as well, or you can just use whatever with it. So you can see it's only got to the mid forearm on the arms. The sculpts are nice, the color is nice, and then of course you got the place for armors and stuff. And it looks like maybe a little bit of dry brushing. That could just be the camera though, one or the other. But it's the most basic of Mythic Legion's parts. No overlays, no hands, no crotch piece. And the arms swivel and lift and do all the things that you would expect of a Mythic Legions figure. And surprisingly to me, I didn't realize this. Maybe I didn't read, you know, up on the Barbarian parts too much, because I wasn't going to buy them separately. But it comes with 2 torsos. This one is a bit slimmer. Not by much though, but it looks a bit slimmer. But this one also has the ball and hinge on it, rather than like this one just has just the ball. So there is that. And then it also comes with 2 legs, which again, you do have to put together. And any of these things, you take them apart, putting them together, heat them up, because they're not easy, even heated up, to get in there. So, you know, nice sculpt, nice color. And, you know, it is pretty basic. And I think that's because this is more for customizing stuff. So, you know, they left it as bare as possible with as little paint hits and stuff as they could do, which I, you know, think was basically just the the skin tone. And at least for some of it, it doesn't look like it was molded in that color. This, you know, the arms, at least this part of the arm doesn't look like it was molded in that color. But, you know, on the production side of things, I'm no expert. On the reviewing side of things, I'm probably not an expert either, but I play one on YouTube. So 3.5 minutes in, and we haven't even looked at any accessories. So let's get started with that. So first up, we have a sword, and we do have handy dandy tweezers standing by here in case we need them. So nice silver paint app. Well, it's not really silver, it's a silvery gunmetal. It's not dark enough to be gunmetal, but not bright enough to be just silver, I guess. And then we've got like gold or bronze here on the handguard and the pommel, and then nice molded leathery type details for the handle. And then of course with that sword we do get a scabbard, and it looks like it's probably molded in this color. And then we got the nice little gold or bronze at each end. And where'd the sword go? There it is. It fits in there pretty decently. It doesn't go all the way in. It's kind of a generic scabbard for any sword this size, so you know it's not molded specifically for the sword to go all the way in there. So next up we have is like broadsword, I guess, and it has that same like silvery gunmetal, you know, cross between silver and gunmetal there for the blade, and then again the gold or bronze for the handguard and pommel, and then nice molded details there for the handle. So really nice looking piece. I like that. Let's see what's up next. Let's look at his belt, and it can be a belt or, you know, an over the shoulder strap. And we've got some nice paint apps there on it. Nice molded details in there to give it that really leathery look. And then pops of color or pops of paint for the buttons. And then another clip here that has some paint app on it. And then some extra holes if he needs to tighten it up. So, not bad. Let's take a look at this piece next, because it can be multiple things. So it's a handle, and we've got a nice armor green. Not quite. It's close to that though. Paint app on there. Got some nice wooden details there that may have a little wash in. It's hard to tell, but some of those cracks are pretty deep. So, and then again that nice paint hit down here, this metal piece at the bottom, and then you can see it's got a post on it, and you can use it for one of two things. this like bladed war club, which again matches up with this, and it has nice molded details, and you can tell it's meant for some nasty things. It's got like some bolts in it and stuff, or pins maybe, and right here at the top, so that's pretty cool. And then we also have this mace piece, which goes right on there. It's got some nice molded detail in it as well, especially down here. And it matches up to the color of this as well. And seeing as how the bladed one I put on the evil guys, I'm gonna leave the mace on this one for the heroic person. Next up we have his extra hands, and they are on up and down hinges. No, these are on in and out. The up and down hinges are on the figure. So in and out hinges, and nice molded details all around. I really dig this color green. I think it looks very nice on this particular mold. Oh, here's the other hand. Almost forgot it. And just the molded detail on this is fantastic. And next up we have his helmet pieces and their horns, and that looks like, I think it's like got a bit of a green wash on it, and it may be molded in green as well. I'll find out when I go to Chroma Can. So very nice. And there's two of those, one for the left and one for the right. And it does have some nice details in there, some striations and stuff going on. So that's cool. Next up we have his shoulder pads. And again, that nice green color that matches the armor, and maybe even a little bit of a wash in there. It looks like there is a bit of a wash, or maybe a dry brush. You can see it kind of on here. It's hard to see it in the camera under all the lights and stuff, so maybe that's a little better. You can kind of see it there. Those pieces are pretty much the same, except for one's left and one's right. And oh, it looks like it's got some punches of silver there for the rivets. The other one did too. I just missed it. Same kind of wash going on there. So really, really good looking pieces for this. Supposed to be a generic character, you know. And this piece is actually two pieces. The handle does come off. There's a little bitty peg in there, and you know, that can also be used for turning it, although that one's really tight, so maybe pull it off and rotate it if you need to during posing, but you know, it's up to you. So nice color on this shield, and then you know, the banding around it, and then these other areas. Also the rivets, and nice molded details there in the handle as well. So finally, let's get to the figure itself, and let's raise the camera up a little bit. And I have to say, you know, this mold has probably been in the Mythic Legions line more than one time, and that's okay, because he's a knight, right? At least that's the way I feel about it. So, but nice molded details, like punches of silver there for the rivets, and that goes through the entire figure, it looks like. This I think is silver, and then it has a little bit of a green wash over it. I could be mistaken. And then, yeah, he's wearing his sword belt there with its 2 straps here. And just the molded detail throughout this. I mean, look at all the rivets and all the plate lines and just like detail in there as well. They always do such a good job with sculpt and finishes. And you know, overall, Four Horsemen Studio does a good job, period. There's just a little, maybe for me it's nitpicking, but there's just some things that I would like to see added just for range of motion. But you know, sometimes those things would mess up the sculpt, and I think they're trying to maintain their balance of cuts to sculpt. Maybe there's a ratio they have for that at the Four Horsemen Studio. I'm not sure. If I ever interview them, I'll ask. So just an excellent looking figure. Let's talk about his articulation a bit. And I don't know if y'all can see in there. He has a ball and hinge. Well, you know what? We don't have to see in there. We can take the head off. So he's got the ball and hinge on it. And I'm glad to start seeing this piece. You know, at least I feel like I'm starting to see it more. But, you know, I haven't been collecting very long for Mythic Legion, so could just be me. So he can look up that high. He can look down that low. He's got chicken neck. He's got waggle. He can do the full exorcist. At the shoulder, 360 degrees of rotation there. And he can raise his arm up. Well, let's force it a little bit. Not quite 90 degrees. Almost gets to 90 degrees. At the elbow, it's a single hinge and swivel. And it doesn't want to swivel because of this overlay piece on the elbow. So it will swivel. I'm not going to make it. So the bend at the elbow, you get that much. About 90 degrees it looks like. And then this cut here between, you know, in the mid forearm, it gives you another 360 degree rotation. And then it's the wrist as well. I thought it did. Yeah. Wrist as well rotates 360 degrees, and it's got up and down hinges on this set of hands, and that's on both sides. So then cut here at the waist, and it's a ball joint or half dumbbell, whatever you want to call it. Gives him all kind of hula. He can lean left and right. Back about that far, so not a lot. And then forward a good bit better. So there's that. Also 360 degrees of rotation there. At the hips, and I've said on these flaps before, they're soft enough that they don't really hinder the articulation much, but they're stiff enough that they go back into place. Perhaps after prolonged bending like this, you could have to heat them up a little bit to get them back in place. So he can give you the full splits. He can kick forward that far, which is really good. It's about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit better. It kind of feels like. And then back that far, so that's really good too. And then at the thigh where like this part enters the armor, there is a cut there, and it will give you a 360 degree rotation there. Single hinge and swivel at the knee, and it swivels around 360 degrees, and it gives you that much bend, which is more than 90 degrees, so that's really good. Then at the ankle, it tilts down that far, it tilts up that far, and a forward-facing pin for rocker. And then as far as putting his accessories on, you guys give me just a minute. Alright, so what I've done now is put some of the basic pieces on. As you can see, the horns, you know, those ports there, they just fit in. And you don't have to point them straight up. You can, you know, like this or that, or even like that if you wanted to. And then I've gotten this strap on and the shoulder armors on, and I put the scabbard in place. And I know a lot of the pictures and stuff, even the promotional pictures, show putting more than one thing in these straps, but to me it makes it feel too bulky. And also this feels more accurate because on the lower strap there you can put the pin, well, it's not a pin, a hook, I guess, over that one, and then it feeds through this. And the way these are, it helps the scabbard sit at an angle, which makes it easier for the knight to remove the sword, or he can even grab the scabbard and put it, you know, at a more accurate angle, which I guess he could do anyway. But it seems like this keeps it at the ready. And I don't know if it's historically accurate, but that's just, to me, that's how it feels like this is supposed to go, regardless of what other people photograph and what the promotional photography shows. It just feels to me like that is the correct piece for it. Now, if you don't want him holding this big old thing in his hands, this strap on his back, it has a piece on it where you can slide the sword in there and it stays at his back for when he does need it. The scabbard here, of course, is for the more normal size sword. Sorry, bump the camera, because what is a Digital Caveman Presents review without bumping the camera? So we can also put this in his hand. And I'm guessing if you didn't want him having this, but you wanted storage, he could hold this and you could put the mace in the strap there on his back. And then the shield goes in his other hand. And again, I'm sure you could probably put the handle through the strap there if you wanted to. You know, everything except the extra piece for the, you know, the bladed war club thing and the extra hands. Everything else can store on this figure. You don't have to overcrowd it like that. You can use it for making different figures or whatever strikes your fancy with it. So, but there you go. This is my Green Knight, and that's how I'm gonna have him in my display. So there you have it, my friends. A look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legion's Armory Experience Heroic Green Knight with the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legion's Armory Experience Evil Red Knight, and the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legion's Armory Experience Evil Purple Knight. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legion's Armory Experience Heroic Green Knight, with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee from G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legion's Armory experience, Heroic Green Knight, I have to say this, it's an army builder. It is what it is, okay? It was part of the Armory experience and not one of the go to the show and build your own knight. It was I ordered it from sourcehorseman.com, and I didn't just order this guy because I probably wouldn't have just ordered the green one. But what I did, they had a special running with, it was a 3-pack blind box experience, basically is what it was. So you get, you pay your money and you get 3 random Armory experience knights, plus you got the barbarian bear parts as well. Of course, not enough to build another figure, but if you're a customizer and you needed some extra bear skin pieces, there you go. So I thought it was a really good value for what you get, because these guys were $45 a pop if you bought them individually, and buying them like the all-in set, it was, there was no discount for getting them at that. But these guys probably, they were retailing $45 at the Four Horsemen's store. So, and I keep saying store horseman. And that's like $5 cheaper than what it might have ran you at, say, BBTS or Nerdzoic or some of the other official retailers. And I'm sure the secondary market, they're much more than that. So I thought, $100 for 3, even though they're random, plus the bear barbarian parts, which there were 2 torsos, and left right arm and a left and a right leg. But of course you don't have like the shin parts of the legs or the hands or feet or wrist bracers or anything like that. It was just past on the arm, it was from the shoulder just past the elbow, and on the leg it was from the hip part to just below the shin, or just below the knee rather. So again, like I said, no crotch piece. That would have been a great piece to have had in there, but alas, it was not, and that's okay. I mean, and they were selling that for $10 a pop on the website as well, which I guess isn't a bad price, but I wasn't interested, and I wouldn't have bought it separately, but it was cool to kind of see how the stuff was put together, and you do have to put it together. So there was some assembly required for it, and it is what it is. It's parts to build another figure. So if I wanted to pull one of these guys apart and make a barbarian with a knight helmet, I could do that. But back to what I guess I was trying to say is that out of the 3 that I got, the Heroic Green Knight, the Evil Red Knight, and the Evil Purple Knight, I think I like this one the best. The red was, to me, a little bit darker than what they show in the pictures, but that could be due to lighting or photography or monitor settings or whatever. So the red one was a little bit darker than I was expecting. Looks good under the lights though. So there's that. The purple one, the design, the evil purple, rather, not the heroic purple, but the evil purple, wasn't necessarily a design I would have chosen. Just that helmet is a little, I don't love that helmet. I don't hate it, but I don't love that helmet. So there is that. So this one ended up being, out of the three, my favorite. And of course they all come with the same accessories, except for the Heroic Knight does come with an extra set of hands that the Evil Knights did not come with. And they were, I want to say, up and down hinges. No, the up and down hinges are the one on the figure. The in and out hinges are the ones that were extra. So he got up and down hinges in his wrists, and I don't think the evil ones had the up and down hinge. I think they just had in and out. So, but other than that, you know, the accessories were all the same. Again, except for this guy came with the horns that attached to his helmet. So it seems like the heroic ones maybe came with a few more accessories than the evil knights, but you know, overall I'm not disappointed with what I got. Again, the purple one wouldn't have been one I chose on my own, but it's not bad. I guess he fits in with the evil looking stuff with that helmet that I don't really like. The red one, you know, again, just the red was a little dark, but you know, those are for their own individual videos. This one out of the three was my favorite, and I would consider doing that blind box again, or blind pick, whatever you want to call it, blind 3-pack. I would consider doing it again with Mythic Legions, as long as it seems like it's a good value. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.